Noiture lemijitab kalajen chamge agitagaten KASS TV and KASS MASHINANI in petunot nebarani betunibo kwangwan gasi tarigit tisab arawetab somok kenyit 2024 ak tiptem ak angwan itagat en petunot nebarani asobit ketestai en ngalalenyon noton nebo atkan tugul netinyegei ak tuguk chetesetai en emet noton nebo Kenya ak en uitulioton ele imi. Aja betunoton nebo rani kitinye kelchin kainanyun ko Stanley Bore kitinye kelchin kimiten ak tandenyon engineer Shammah Kiteme ne inendet ko Honorary Secretary in institution noton nebo Engineers of Kenya. Rani mochut kikusingo ngobo ng'olyo noton nebo investment en ng'alekab infrastructure keker kele tos toretoito ano economy nebo emet noton nebo Kenya. Akebendi kewale kutit kebe Kingereza asobit keitinen ak tandenyon en betunoton nebo rani. Itagat kun missing en uitulioton igeren KASS TV. Now, welcome, engineer, to KASS TV. Maybe you can say hi to our viewers. It's your camera, so that we'll be able to proceed. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
Yes,
my name is Engineer Shammah Kiteme. I am a practicing civil structural engineer. I have practiced now for over 15 years in the area of structural engineering and also wastewater. I am also the current Honorary Secretary, Institution of Engineers of Kenya, and a presidential candidate for the institution because we have elections on 21st March this year.
Okay, and that is on March 21st of March. Okay, maybe briefly can tell us about what it's all about being a president, you know, the Engineers Society of Kenya or something like that, yes.
Well, IEK is the umbrella body bringing together all engineers in Kenya. We have a membership of over 12,000 and we basically carry out activities around membership, empowerment. We do advocacy for our members. We also do capacity building. We work with various bodies and sectors to advance interests of engineers and engineering in the country.
Yes.
We work with parastatals, we work with the private sector, we work with government agencies. We also affiliated to international bodies like FAO, Federation of African Engineering Organizations. We also affiliated to World Federation of Engineering Organizations. And so we are basically the home for all engineers in the country. Our current membership standing at 12,000 and still growing. Okay. So yes, that is what we do as IEK. And of course, as a president, then you are part of the council, and then you chair meetings of the council, and you are integral in implementing, some of the activities that are relevant to fight for interests of members, their welfare, and the general advancement of engineering in Kenya. You also sit in the Engineers Board of Kenya to represent our engineers, and of course play a critical role towards making sure that interests of members are catered for by the institution because you are elected and you're given a mandate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we wish you all the best, engineer.
Thank you.
Now, normally what is the procedure, the process for your elections? Like, do you go to the people or you go to the engineers only? What is it?
One of the things is that the Institution of Engineers of Kenya is respected association, a society, registered under the Societies Act. Not only are we accommodating all engineers, we also have technicians and technologists. So we also have different cadres of membership from students, graduates to, we also have corporate and fellows. So we cut across the board and we make sure that we represent the interests of all these members. Now, the current constitution, which is was amended in 2015, has provisions for those who can vote. They are fellows, they are corporate members, and they are associates. And the engagement means that we make sure that they have the voting credentials on the voting day, and then they're able to carry out to the actual voting. And the voting is actually electronic. We have done electronic voting all the way from 2018. And then when now you do the electronic voting, The tallying is also appears in the same platform that we are voting. And so that is the outlook of the voting process. However, now, all those who are eligible to vote, because they have to have paid their subscription for 2023 and to be in good standing and to be eligible to vote, then the voting code is sent to them. A link is sent on email and WhatsApp. Then they are able to come to the platform for voting. And then when they vote, the voting is actually between 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And afterwards, the results are available in the platform. When you click back, some few minutes after 6 p.m., 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you're able to see the results because we are fully electronic in our voting.
In our voting.
Yeah.
So what is the term for presidency?
You serve one term of 2 years. And so if I am elected 2024, my term of service will end in 2026, and then I give way to a new president of IK. Yeah.
So can you be able to, so it's strictly 2 years?
It is strictly 2 years.
2 years.
That is what the Constitution...
So you can extend unless you amend the Constitution?
Unless you amend the Constitution. And there is no appetite for amending the Constitution because we are a professional society. We have very many members capable of leading. And when you're given that trust and confidence by members, 2 years is good enough. It's good enough. Good enough.
At least for some work to get done.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So now being a society engineer, what is the status currently in Kenya in terms of the contribution of the engineers in terms of boosting the economy of our country?
Yeah. A very good question, Stanley, because basically engineers are so integral to our economy. Such that the other day we were celebrating World Engineering Day on 4th March. And I can tell you, every time we reflect on the role of engineers in our economy, it is clear that if today you withdraw engineers from the economy would stand still. Imagine of power, we need power for everything we do. Even here we need power, and you need electrical engineers. Imagine of the roads, we need engineers to do the roads. Imagine of the industries, the manufacturing industry, that they manufacture everything, food, medicine, you need engineers. Now imagine the transportation sector. We need the vehicles, we need the trains, we need the planes, and those require engineers. The entire economy is basically, and basically actually the current world, the modern world is basically an engineering project because you're looking at engineers being in every sector of the world. Talk about hospitals. You need water, you need power, you need water. You need water engineers, you need electrical engineers, you need biomedical engineers to manage the machines and all that. You need negative pressure in theaters, for instance, because sometimes they are exposed to infectious diseases. And all these things are designed by engineers. And so we cannot exhaust the critical or central nature that engineers play in our society, as it were. Now, the question is that appreciated? And that is why probably we were very proud to have in 2019 a UNESCO declaring World Engineering Day. That is a day that we celebrate and appreciate contribution of engineers to sustainable development. And so that is what we're celebrating last Monday. And it was, wonderful day for engineers to have a time and reflect on their contribution to the sustainable development. Yeah,
absolutely. And looking back from the successive governments in the past, they really appreciate that. Have they given that space, the mandate for the engineers, so that we'll be able to have a robust economy in Kenya?
I don't think so.
What are the issues? Why?
Maybe because I'm an advocacy is a very key pillar for IK. It's really very important we continue advocacy, engaging both the public and private sector for the space of the engineer. Now, the nature of how we do things is we are technical. And the tendency has always been, we don't know until there's a problem. You do not want to imagine there's a place of the engineer until you don't have water. Then you imagine, okay, there's a water engineer. Until you don't have power, then you realize, okay, there's an electrical engineer that I need to get power back. So by the way we operate, we keep on running until there's a problem. Okay, we need an engineer to fix this. But what we're saying is this: you need to plan well. Even when you're doing your building, you need to plan well. Have in mind the fact that you need the input of the structural engineer for the structural integrity of your building, any structure you're doing. You need the electrical engineer for the safety of power systems. You need the mechanical engineer for the heating, ventilation, HVAC, what we call HVAC and all that. And so many other building systems that mechanical engineers do. And so you must have that. And critically, appreciate the role of engineers in the lives that we live today, because you definitely need them. But the tendency has always been imagining a life is moving on until there's a problem. That's when you need the engineer. But we have been very categorical in engaging the government and the players and even the public, telling them, look, you need to do your building, you need to engage an engineer. You need the electrical engineer, you need the mechanical engineer, you need the structural engineer. We have engaged even the government and told them, look, you cannot run county governments implementing infrastructure without engineers. You cannot, even national government, we have made a case of you're trying to implement mega projects, you're trying to implement infrastructure projects. You need engineers, and you need to appreciate their place. And more importantly, even the infrastructure projects where we have donor funding, financing, we need a situation whereby we respect the local content provisions that are in PPADA, so that then we do not have projects that are done in our country with our money or with loans from foreign governments, and then engineers in Kenya are not involved. So we have continuously engaged on those aspects, and we'll continue to engage further, because we know we have local capacity. We have some of the best brains who are engineers in this country. In any case, they are top grades. Every time we have KCSE, we have the top brains going to the engineering school. And so that is the overall space, and we've been trying to do our best to make sure that the space of the engineer is respected and appreciated.
So do you think it has been the issue of leadership within the IEK or the government itself of the day?
All right.
Where we say the buck stops there.
Well, I believe, one, if you don't make noise, no one will know that you're around.
You're
That's a fact. And so there's also a role for us to play as a leadership in engineering sector to make sure that, one, through advocacy and visibility, society appreciates. You see, the society is as a whole, it has different parts here and there. And all of them, they need to appreciate the place of the engineer. And that's the role of IEK, and I believe that is why we are saying we want a vibrant IEK. We need a visible IEK that ensures that the place of the engineer is respected, but also the players in government. For instance, you need to have engineers leading organizations, ministries, parastatals, basically MDS, that are core services are engineering. You need to. Why? Because if you engage an engineer to be at the helm of a ministry, of a department or agency whose core service is engineering, that person does not have the technical capacity to advise you, for example. And if they advise you, they are giving second-hand information that has been given by the juniors. And so we have strongly made a case for having parastatals, bodies, sagas that are really largely engineering as their core service, to have engineers leading. So that then when you are getting technical advice, you are getting technical advice from the experts. And this is a message we've been passing across to the government, and we appreciate that government listens to us, and we want to engage further so that we make sure that all the bodies whose core function is engineering, we have engineers at the helm, because that is the only way we can ensure that we are getting sound technical advice, because engineers are technically able to lead, actually.
Absolutely. So suppose you given the mandate, being the president, and which we hope, what will be your areas majorly of concern between the engineers, board of Kenya, Society of Kenya, and the government of the day? Yes.
Basically, we look towards a partnership. We look towards mutual collaborative engagement where the interests of engineers are respected. For instance, I have chaired a task force on the unified scheme of service for engineers, and we have presented a proposal to the Public Service Commission where we are arguing the case for engineers there is an injustice that has been meted on engineers, whereby they do a 5-year course, and they are, when they get employment, even in the public sector, their entry, job group is equivalent to a 4-year course, which does not agree with the guidelines provided by the Public Service Commission. And we're saying these are long-term injustice that the government needs to correct. And we are very grateful. We have had engagements with the leadership at Public Service Commission and brought them to appreciate the fact that engineering is a 5-year course. So the job group or the entry level should not be a K, because the provisions for PSC provide that something different. It should be L and higher. And we have also argued for, allowances, risk allowance and practicing allowance, because these allowances are given to other professions, like lawyers, like doctors, and we ask, why not engineers? So there's that mutual collaboration and understanding, which we foresee is going to continue, because we need to work well. We have seen the government attending our functions. We had the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, attending our convention. We had His Excellency, the President, attending the EPC convention. And we are very grateful. We have a healthy partnership and collaboration with the government. However, we will also be faithful to tell the government when we feel like a recent advertisement for ITS, EOI in Nairobi, completely excluding local engineers and restricting it to Chinese. We will encourage the government that we have a way we can go about it where we benefit engineers. We have the laws and they are available. And we will also make it not good PR experience for the Chinese government, for instance, to give us a loan on one side and make sure that it can only be done by Chinese nationals. So this is a relationship that we will build, and it's good for engineers. And we are grateful. We have had wonderful interactions, and we have put our case across, and we have had a listening ear. We engaged the DP in Mombasa. We engaged the PS Roads, Engineer Mbugwa, and they are responsive when we put across our issues, and we want to build this and strengthen it.
Absolutely, when it is still young. And in terms of the membership, what is I don't know if you have the whole analytic of the Royal Society of Engineers of Kenya at hand. Like, how many engineers do you have?
Well, the facts are that since independence, about 37,000 engineers have been trained. However, because there is natural attrition, and some end up not finding opportunity in engineering and decide to digress, get to banking, get to other things and management. So in total, roughly, we have about 23,000 graduate engineers. We have about 4,000 professional engineers and a number about 600 consulting engineers and a few approved checkers. So the number, while about 37,000 have been trained since engineering started being taught in Kenya, we still have about roughly 27,000 or thereof people now, engineers actively in the Register of Engineers Board of Kenya, because it's a regulator. And that number is actually not enough as per the international standards. We still need to have like 10,000 more engineers who are professional and certified and licensed to practice, so that we can catch up. Some countries, for example, they have a ratio of 1 into 100 in terms of the ratio of population of engineers to the population. And those countries are industrialized. And we are making a strong case for industrialization, for economic development and job creation. And for us to reach there, we need to increase the numbers of engineers who are competently able to perform technically in a rapidly industrializing economy. And so there's still space for growth, while the numbers are what I've just mentioned.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Engineer. We'll take a short break and then we'll be right back. The second part of this conversation. Unaweza jitapkala njini kiyo eksenga satana tana matian kibendi break and wagandanya get style about nitango engineer Shammah in Oliver studio notan about KASS TV. Right.